When a catastrophe occurred, the interest of the people was focused in Sewol Ferry. All the previous political social issues disappeared out of interest. The people wondered, why did the ship suddenly sink? The testimonies and news that Sewol Ferry sailed zigzag appeared. Sewol Ferry showed abnormality, changing directions to left and right more than 4 times from long time ago. In fact, the passengers felt direction changes before the accident. KMST and the Joint Investigation Team obtained Jindo monitoring video. The monitoring video of the time of the accident had whole radar information and AIS information. Therefore, it was natural for them to look at the radar tracks. They saw the whole mysterious left and right turns and 280 degrees of a large turn vividly. Now, the crew was to receive tense investigation for the suspicion of intentional sinking. However, absurd situation occurred suddenly. The MOF reported AIS tracks excluding accurate radar data. Meanwhile, the tracks were highly suspicious. Basically, AIS tracks show the GPS positions of the antenna of a ship. However, according to government's report, the positions of the antenna were completely separated from the ship. Such mysterious phenomenon may occur only when the crew hangs it at the end of a long fishing rod. In addition, the information on left turns by the crew was completely omitted. Furthermore, turning angle was significantly reduced, reversing the ship head to opposite direction. At the same time, information parts made rapid actions. They pressed professionals so that they may not say anything about track charts. As a result, the possibility that the crew may escape from the suspicion of intentional sinking was gradually elevated. However, the families and general populations with no knowledge about AIS did not know such fact at all. However, the track charts containing absurd information came to a crisis. Sailing professionals sensed that the track charts were abnormal at a time. The comic drifting track sheet in which speeds and inertia were overlooked was first suspected. Furthermore, the government started to suppose the position of the accident to be this lower section. And then, the time to turn off the engine was to be delayed to the time after occurrence of the accident. However, as a ship does not immediately stop just after turning off the engine, the offbeat track sheet was to be suspected more. It was just a matter of time that government's track chart would be broken. Then, the men behind the curtain started to move. AIS track chart in crisis. A piece of data to rescue the sheet was provided. Let's call this data scarecrow data for convenience. This data included the information that the direction of Sewol Ferry's ship head was 140 degrees. The direction of the ship head was 150 degrees in the next piece of data. Sewol Ferry sharply turned 10 degrees for a very short time and land. If this message may be strongly transmitted, the interest of professionals and people may be focused in this section. They urgently visited Duo family. It's a merchant ship that passed by Sewol Ferry. Therefore, the black box of the ship received the final track data of Sewol Ferry. They obtained it and copied the data. Copying process is very simple, that is connection of the box with a LAN cable and download. It may be more rapidly copied when the PC card of the storage is picked out and is put in a notebook. When the whole track data of Sewol Ferry was obtained, they selected AIS screen only excluding accurate radar data. And then, they made a very short 13-second video including scarecrow data. However, they made a decisive mistake. A question mark was included in the coordinates. If others look at the data, they must suspect the video to be faked and edited. Anyway, when the video was prepared, they started curious work. They played 13-second video and filmed the screen using a shaking handset camera or something like that. And then, they played the film video in PC and made the final video using a capture program. They accurately deleted the last digit of the scarecrow precisely. When the data passes these three core processes, the picture was deteriorated and reading the figures became difficult. However, they made a mistake in these processes, too. The logo of the program used in capture remained clearly. If they purchased and used $40 of original product, it would not be exposed that the video was made through three processes. Anyway, when the video containing the scarecrow data is broadcasted, a great disturbance would be caused due to the sharp turn. On April 25th, the spectacular show started. This is the result of analysis of a black box, that is Sewol recording device, installed in a merchant ship that passed by Sewol Ferry. It was not disclosed that the nearby merchant ship was Duo family. This video strongly supported the assertions of the crew. It's consistent with the crew's testimonies that she suddenly landed during a turn. Is it possible to turn sharply 10 degrees for a second? It's absolutely impossible because the distance was more problematic. Even a 6,000 T UFO, it's impossible to sail at 1,100 km per hour of speed against friction with seawater. If such data is true, Sewol Ferry achieves a new record in the galactic system. I did not know such data was available, but YTN seemed to find it out. Anyway, this impact strategy was very effective. The cause of sinking of Sewol Ferry was focused in the sharp turn of 10 degrees for a second, and the absurd drifting tracks died away from the interest of professionals. On the next day of the impactive broadcasting by YTN, the MOF made a surprising timely report that Jindo Control Center received the scarecrow data, too. It was officially registered in government's track charts as if it was received at 4844. The information on the sharp turn of 10 degrees for a second went to pieces in one day. After all, finally remained information after 2 days of surprising show was the message that the accident occurred in the process that the crew tried normal shift of helm at 140 degrees. And, the prosecutor included this message in the written indictment when they indicted the crew. It was really splendid appearance of a piece of data. However, such AIS data was merely a piece of scarecrow data. As the result of verification by professionals, the YTN video in which a scarecrow appeared could not be scientifically explained rather than faking. In addition, the government's report that Jindo Control Center received the scarecrow data was not credible. When all the two Jindo monitoring videos were reviewed, such scarecrow data was not found. Late in September, government's track chart came to a crisis again. A problem was raised with the 280 degrees of large turn in Papa is. The photos taken on Dula Ace cannot be faked. They were disclosed by CNN already. To make matters worse, the families planned to restore Jindo monitoring video. It was a really nettlesome situation for them. If the monitoring video would be properly restored, the truth in the radar data was to be completely exposed. In addition, the fact that Jindo video had no scarecrow data was to be exposed. Therefore, curious matters started to occur. 1 week before the families visited the restoration company, KMST contacted the company. They did not know such situation but received restored video from the company. And they provided Director Kim with the video for analysis. Then, curious coincidence repeated. Recently, the MOF restored the tracks based on radar information including the track information on so-called 29-second of data loss section. Why new data appears always when government's report comes to a crisis? Same situation occurred 6 months ago. A part of 36-second section just before sinking was identified. The pattern was changed from 10 degrees for a second to 11 degrees for 4 seconds. She suddenly turns 10 degrees from 140 to 150 degrees. A sharp turn of 11 degrees for only 4 seconds, that is 2.7 degrees per second. Is this possible? Is this level of sharp turn practically possible? It's absolutely impossible, too. This time, the problem is the distance, too. In order to sail this distance for 4 seconds, Sewol Ferry had to sail at 2 times the maximum speed. This must be an impact strategy to hide other secret. Therefore, the monitoring video received by the families was verified through professionals. Evidences of fake poured out. A cunning fact was additionally found. According to the data restored by the MOF, the scarecrow data disappeared from the position of 4844. Instead, new AIS data positioned there. However, the message made by the scarecrow remained. The prosecutor maintained the message in the final investigation result. Soon, the court made a sentence accepting the indictment of the prosecutor. Who might they be? It's impossible to know who they are exactly at the moment. However, some matters may be inferred. They have the power to ask and obtain the black box of Duo family. When they provided the data, they had a solid position as YTN broadcasted the data without any suspicion. They have experienced psychological technique to plan media play. However, their practical ability to perform psychological strategy results in many errors and is absurd. They have the power to register the unidentified scarecrow data in government's track charts. They are powerful to make data lost sections and doppelganger action in the monitoring videos. They have the power not to afraid of the prosecutor's investigation although they committed apparent fakes. A gloomy foreboding is suddenly felt. It seems that, if they are not taken to court, such tragic as Sewol Ferry's tragic will recur someday. What will be their next choice?